Hey, Daily Dosers. I can't believe if you're watching this that you've stayed with me for a week already on these mornings, but happy Thursday to you. I don't know if there's been a whole lot of change in your life since our teaching this weekend and the Daily Dosers, but this is just laying down. Here's how we're all going to get there together. I was looking at the passage for this one, and it reminded me for a time I was a campus pastor at a Christian college university, and I would always introduce all the chapel speakers. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we had chapel. I'd introduce the speakers, set up whatever. They'd speak. I'd take notes in the front row. When they were done, I'd get up, dismiss everybody to classes. And I had this book of notes. Every chapel I committed to taking notes, show students we should be taking notes. We're students of the word, not just there to be entertained. And I can't tell you, flipping through that little chapel Devo that I kept, how many times I ended the notes with YBH, YBH, YBH. My bet is over half, some 60-70% of the chapels ended with YBH. I would hear a great talk, some great communicator, and then I would sit down and go, YBH. Yes, but how? Christians, we should be. Yes, but how? We got to get rid of sin in our life. We got to be. Yes, but how? We got to walk in the love and grace of Jesus. Yes, but how? YBH. This week, we've been talking about this mindset, how it's not about us, how it's about others, how the mindset's of Christ, not of Chris, how the determination to go for the prize, the reward, and all this. But now I'm like, but how? YBH. And Paul knows this. And Paul's a great communicator. So he starts wrapping up his book with, yes, and let me tell you how. Chapter 4, verse 4. Maybe, I don't know, this book is so amazing, but one of the most powerful parts of this book. Chapter 4, 4. So rejoice in the Lord always. I'm going to say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Now here's how. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, over and over again, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And the peace of God, which transcends your understanding, it's going to blow you away. There's no way to define it, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. He goes, now look, Christian, you're going to have a lot of anxious thoughts and fears about my company, about my business, about my relationship, about our health right now, about my kids right now, about my spouse right now, about my parents right now, about it. He goes, here's what you do. You take whatever you're anxious and whatever you're fearful of, and you present it to God, petition constantly, daily, with thanksgiving. God, thank you. But here's the stuff that's troubling me. God, thank you for the life and who you are. But God, here's the stuff that's tomorrow. He goes, you lay it down. You give it to God. Well, what do? I wish I could just pray about something and then I'm clueless on it. Well, what's your problem? Well, I don't know what my problem is. I gave it to God. Now I don't remember any. But that's not the way it works, does it? I give that to God, but my mind is still full of what? Anxiousness and fear. He goes, so here's what you do with it. Verse 8. So finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. You can't give to God what is anxious and fearful and troubling you and turn around and start focusing back on what is anxious, fearful, and troubling you. He goes, you took it right back. You give your fear and your anxiety, you give the issues to God, and then you turn around and go, okay, God, I'm doing my part in this, but God, I've given it to you. Now I'm putting my mind on things that are what? True, noble, things that are lovely, things that are pure, things that are praiseworthy, things that are excellent. He goes, now set your mind to those things. We are going to focus on what we look at. We just are. Come on, you've done this before. How many fingers do I have? Okay. Now don't look at these. And you just did. Why? We focus on what we look at. You look at it, you focus on it, you know the answer. He goes, if you're looking at anxiety and problems and fears, oh, this is where I should never open the door to this. But people, if your greatest fear and anxiety is what is happening in our politics today and what is happening in our nation today, and you're praying to God about it, and then you're just turning right back around and focusing on your fear and anxiety, you are going to be a person filled with fear and anxiety. You've got no room for joy and contentment and peace in your life. Why? You are consuming fear and anxiety. And I love the way Paul goes, I get this. I'm chained in prison waiting to be beheaded. And it's called the book of joy. How did I get there? I have given this to God. Page 1. If I die, I go to heaven. If I live, I'm going to keep preaching the gospel. God, that's yours. I think I'm going to keep living because I think I got more to do. But God, it's yours. Now let me focus on this. And he focuses on things that are true, pure. No, we've got to get this down, people. Yes, but how? How do we have this mindset? I take the things that are troubling me. I take my fear. I take my anxiety. I take that. And peace comes from knowing, God, you have this. God, you're in control. My job, I'm going to focus on something different. Because what we focus on determines what we see. What are you consuming, Christian? Are you consuming things of joy, peace, love, contentment, the things of Christ? Or are we consuming Philippi? Are we consuming this world and wondering why our salvation is past and future? But man, I can't seem to live it out in the present. YBH. You're doing it wrong. Let me show you the result tomorrow.